$2 million in treasure. That's a lot of scratch. And it's out there for the taking. How did we get here, though? What am I talking about? Let me fill you in. There's a man by the name of Forrest Fenn. He was, some attribute to being the modern day Indiana Jones. Quite the interesting man. I highly encourage you do some research on the man, look him up, learn about his life. Very, very interesting man. A real man's man. He was a fighter pilot, flew a lot of combat tours in Vietnam. I don't want to quote the exact number because I don't want to be mistaken, but it was somewhere around 342 combat missions. He was shot down twice. After he got out, he decided to open an art dealership in Santa Fe where he sold paintings and artifacts that he had collected, dealt with a lot of celebrities, Ralph Lauren, Cher, and many, many others. He was a well-known guy. His art store was very successful. He made a fortune. He made millions off of this store. Well, in the late 80s, he was diagnosed with cancer. They gave him not very good probabilities of survival. And he tells a story of how Ralph Lauren came over to his house and pointed at a piece of art and said, "Hey, I'd like to buy that." Forrest said, "Well, it's not for sale." And Ralph said, "Well, you can't take it with you." Forrest's reply was, "Well, then I'm not going." But that got him thinking, who's to say that I can't take it with me? Who's to say that I can't leave a legacy? So he came up with this idea, and he bought a 10 by 10 bronze box, solid bronze box. The box alone is probably worth quite a bit of money. And he filled it with various treasures. There's gold nuggets in there. There's a couple gold nuggets that weigh over a pound apiece. Diamonds, emeralds, rubies, Aztec artifacts. And all of this is reportedly worth around $2 million. So he filled the box. He showed a couple people the box, but he told nobody what he was doing. He then came up with the idea to go hide this treasure somewhere in the Rocky Mountains and leave a map for people to find it. Wow, that's a lot to take in. I know right there. Normally when people think treasure, they think pirates. And, I'm a bit of a treasure hunter myself. I've always been fascinated by that kind of thing. I'm a bit of a researcher. By trade, I'm a realtor and a real estate investor. And being a real estate investor is kind of like being a treasure hunter, where I'm trying to find the diamond in the rough. And being a real estate agent, a realtor, it's very much the research side, finding solutions to problems. That's what kind of has me so interested in this, is there is a problem here and nobody can seem to find the solution. So Forrest went on to write a book called The Thrill of the Chase, which was his memoir. And in that memoir, which I do encourage everybody watching this, go get the book, read it. His life is fascinating. He's truly one of the last of his kind. He reminds me a lot of my grandfather, and I truly enjoy listening to his stories. In the book, there's a poem. And the poem is the map to find the treasure. I'm going to read you the poem, and then I encourage you to look it up on your own, read it, and see what you think. The poem goes, As I have gone alone in there, and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where, and hint of riches new and old. Begin it where warm waters halt, and take it in the canyon down. Not far, but too far to walk, put in below the home of Brown. From there it is no place for the meek, the end is ever drawing nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads in water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease, but tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answer I already know. I've done it tired and now I'm weak. So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. If you are brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold. Wow. So, I've followed this since it was 2009, 2010 when he buried it. Well, I don't want to say buried. Let me back that up. Nobody hang on that. He never said he buried it. In fact, there's a lot of evidence pointing to he did not bury it. But when he hid it, rather. And, when I first stumbled upon it, I thought there's no way. There's no way anybody's going to find this. He said it's in 4 states: New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, or Montana, in the Rockies. That's where the Rockies are. He has specifically said it's in those 4 states. That's a lot of land. And that poem, just at face value, that could mean a lot of things. That could mean, you could twist that and interpret it to really mean whatever you want. But he's done a lot of interviews recently. There's been major national coverage of this story. Something like 250,000 people have gone and looked for it since he came. I believe the book was published in 2010. That's when people first learned about it. Which is very cool to me, because when you think treasure, you think hundreds of years ago, and here's something buried just a few years ago. Buried, I keep saying buried. It's not. Well, we don't know it's not buried, but, that's fascinating. A couple people have unfortunately lost their lives searching for the treasure. Authorities have asked him to call off the search due to that, to give some more clues. Skeptics have said he's done this just to sell books. I don't believe that the case. I've watched pretty much every interview he's done. I feel like I've kind of gotten to know the guy as well as I can. The book, he's never taken any money from the book. He doesn't need the money. He's very content in life. He's amassed a fortune. He gave the rights to the book to a store in Santa Fe. They are the only people allowed to sell the book, and they donate all the proceeds, or not all the proceeds. I think it's a percentage of the proceeds go to a cancer fund. And he's never seen a dime out of it. So I don't think that's it. People getting hurt, losing their lives searching for it, I do see as a big problem. But these people are missing something very important. He was 80 years old when he hid this treasure. He has specifically said it is not on top of a mountain. And you really have to think in the sense of, where could an 80-year-old go? He said it's not in a dangerous place. It's somewhere that you would feel comfortable taking your families. So I think it's safe to say he's not hiked 10 miles up the face of a mountain at 80 years old. So that I really think that's one of the most important things that I see a lot of people missing over. I've watched a lot of videos of people just, climbing on the sides of mountains. An 80-year-old man is not doing that. And in fact, he's even said that. Where it is, I have a couple ideas. I have a couple theories, and I'd love to hear your theories. For me, would I like to go take a trip out there and look for it myself? Absolutely. I think this is thrilling. You know, he said that part of the reason he did this was to get people off the couch and into the wilderness and to see things that they would normally never see. I think that is a very, very noble thing to do. I think that's much needed in today's day and age. Everybody's glued to the TV, everybody's glued to social media. To get out there in the wild, no cell phone reception, and to hunt for something. It's it's incredible. It's a very intriguing thing. You know, so some of the clues that I know that he's given besides his poem. Now he says everything you need to find the treasure is in the poem. That if you're able to decipher the poem, it will take you right to the treasure. He's also gone on to say that it's in the clues. There's 9 clues in the poem, and they are in consecutive order. He said reading the book could help you, but you don't really need to do that. Everything you need is right in the poem. You're not going to stumble upon the treasure by happenstance. If you have deciphered the poem, it will lead you right to it. And he's kind of inferred that it would be fairly easy to find, that if you're within 12 feet of the treasure, you'll see it. And this poem, if correctly deciphered, will only lead you to one place, and that's right to the treasure. So that gives a little hope there that I see a lot of people saying that this is a lost cause, that it's going to be 1,000 years before somebody finds that. I don't think that's the case. Part of me thinks that he wants this found during his lifetime. He's still alive. He's something like 89 years old right now. There's a lot of places it could be. I think I've narrowed it down to a couple places. I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to hear if you think that you would go look for this. Some other clues that I know. He has said in interviews, now he's done a lot of interviews, but he's not spilled the beans, given any more clues. He's very tight-lipped about this. He has said that it's not underground, it's not underwater, it's not in a cave, it's not in a tunnel. It is somewhere in the elevation of between 5,000 and 10,200 feet. Well, that could be most of the Rockies. I do feel that is important to know. He has said that the place is special to him. Now, I have a lot of places that are special to me. But why I kind of hang on him saying that this place is special to him is his plan. Now, he hid this treasure when he didn't think he was going to survive. His plan was to hide it, and then when he thought he was about to go, he was going to go back to the spot and lay his body on top of the treasure. And that would be his final resting place. So I feel like he kind of got to think, where would he want his final resting place to be? So that's why I do feel, in a way, it is important to kind of get to know the man. And there's a lot of information out there on this, all over YouTube and the internet. You can Google it for yourself. I hope you find it. I hope you do find it. I know I'm searching for it. I have for years, but I've yet to go out there and physically look. I plan on it. For me, it's not about, the value of the treasure. It's just like he says in the title of his book, The Thrill of the Chase. It is a thrill. It's the world is not always a wonderful place in these days, and to have something like this going on, I think is very special, and it kind of gives some hope in humanity that there's still wonders out there. You just got to get off the couch and go find them. But comment below. Let me know what you think. Are you interested in this? Should I do some more about it? Do you want to hear my theories? I want to hear yours.